coverage now. New research sheds light on the role debates play in elections just about a month before the presidential candidates get behind the podium.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are set to debate early next month. And right here in Omaha, Congressman Don Bacon and Senator Tony Vargas will debate 3 times. Omaha's news leader is hosting one of those on October 13th.
As KETV Newswatch 7's Maddie Augustine reports, experts say these debates are an integral part of the election process.
Yeah, Bill, Quinicia, not only are these debates an integral part of the process, but one study argues the voting public wants these debates to happen. And experts say they can make a difference in highly contested races.
I think voters would feel really disappointed if we didn't have debates.
According to a September 2023 study interviewing 2,000 people ages 18 to 64 years old from the Radio Television Digital News Association, 80% of people are interested in local news outlets hosting political debates. A Desire University of Nebraska-Omaha political science professor Dr. Randall Adkins echoes.
Debates are an important part of the process. And I do think that they have an important impact on part of the public, but it's not a big part of the public.
Adkins says a majority of the voting public already have their decision made at this point in an election process. But he adds the small segment who don't can be persuaded one way or another during a debate and in the coverage in the following days.
And in that particular instance, in a close election, it could be a difference in the outcome.
The study highlights 6 main points of why people are interested in debates. That includes hearing candidates' position on certain issues, something Adkins says is important to voters.
They're looking to learn about the candidate, to learn about the candidate's character, about their leadership style, about sort of where their moral compass is.
Adkins says some debates may not hold voters' attention, but that's where social media could come into play.
There are clips from the debate that get posted on social media. And a lot of people are following the news that way too.
Adkins adds someone's mind could change reading or watching coverage in the days following the battle on stage.
What is generated in terms of news out of the debate, that will be very important for voters.
Adkins says debates will always play an important role in the election process and could help keep voters involved. KETV will host a debate between Republican Congressman Don Bacon and State Senator Tony Vargas October 13th. We have reached out to U.S. Senator Deb Fischer and her opponent Dan Osborne for a debate. Osborne has agreed, but Fischer has not yet responded to the offer. Quinicia, Bill, back to you.
All right, Maddie, thank you.